more than 7,200 miles around the county taking images. The system that they use captures an image every 15 feet. So it's 352 images per mile. They collected a total of more than 5 million images. Again, an incredible resource to help them and us moving into the future to examine these properties. And it really proved beneficial when we got into the tornado damage. In addition to the street level, we have new oblique aerial images. So again, another partner of Lexers flew aerial flight patterns over the county, multiple flight patterns, which gives us a 360-degree view of parcels. They covered more than 464 square miles. All of this data integrates with our geographic information system. Again, it's an incredible resource that they were able to use to examine properties and to look for differences. And along with their field work, it was an incredible amount of data to examine and to review, and really put us in a great stead going forward. In addition to that, using that software and that information, they did an extensive data verification and maintenance to our database, correcting physical characteristics that we maintain in our system. As a result of that, about 123,000 parcels were modified to some extent. And then as part of that too, they identified 5,000 parcels that they felt had material changes or had one way or another, both positive or negative, mostly positive. So from that, some properties increased in value, some properties decreased in value. It had a net increase of more than $16 million in market value as a result of that effort. So that's a big part of, or a part of what's driving the values this year. But of course, the biggest part that's driving the values this year is what's happening in the real estate market. As I said, we refer to it as a robust market, record-setting part. This was back in November when Dayton was placed on the list of the 20 hottest real estate markets in the country back in November. And then just in January, this story appeared in the Dayton Daily News talking about home sales and prices reaching record highs. So, you can describe the market however you want to: a hot market, a robust market, a record-setting market. I referred to it last week as a robust market on steroids. So it's been incredible, the growth we've seen in the real estate market in the past 3 years. Really, the growth that started back at our low point in 2011. This chart does valid residential sales since 2005, which was our previous high point, 7,700 in 2005. As you can see, we came close to eclipsing that in 17, went way above that in 18, and just still over 9,100 in 19. So you can see the growth that we've seen in just the sheer number of residential sales. It shows how hot the market's been. When you group these sales by cycles, and when we are doing an update, we're looking at the sales and the real estate market has occurred in the past 3 years. So when you group these in cycles, you'll see that the 2020 cycle had more than 25,000 sales. It's a 48% increase in the number of sales compared to the try that we completed in 17. So a huge increase in just the raw number of sales. And then we've got some maps here that we want to kind of hopefully can show how much it has grown since the 2014 reval and where you can see this growth. So this is in 2014. We had a little more than 11,000 sales over that 3-year cycle, and you can see where those sales predominantly in the eastern part of the county and south and east, a little bit up in the north. Then as you can, in the 17 update, more than 17,000 sales. You can see a lot more red on that map. And now for 2020, the reval, more than 25,000 sales. And as you see, a lot of red on that map in the east and south, up in the north, up there in Huber Heights, but also in those northern suburbs as well, and in the northwestern part of Dayton. Brookville, New Lebanon, Germantown, those are red dots all over the place. A very strong, healthy market that we've seen this past 3 years. Question is just how long is that market going to continue to be strong? And that has come up a lot in our discussions and our worries about the pandemic. This was a report that was just released by the Dayton Realtors in June. As you can see, their numbers continue to show that they're up. They're up in the number of sales. They're up in the average price. They're up in the volume, median price. You know, every indicator that they have indicates that the market continues to be strong. That has been the case from what we have seen, just looking March, April, May, and June, comparing 2019 sales activity to 2020. We had a little bit of a fall off in April and May, but as you can see in June, we picked that right back up again, exceeding the number of sales that were transferred in a year ago. So we really haven't seen much of a decline in the market. When the Ohio legislature declared a state of emergency, one of the things that they declared to be an essential service was real estate transactions. So even though we scaled back our staff and we had a limited staff, we were taking turns coming in to the office. We continued to process transfers in my office every day. And we were processing 70, 80, some days 100, some days 120 or more transfers every day throughout the pandemic. And we were behind. It was hard for us to keep up even with a limited staff. So I think that's part of what you see in the decline in April and May. We were just behind. But now we're catching up here. And again, the market has just remained strong. If you look at the sale price, when we compare real estate transactions to the price, is the price more than the county's value? Again, looking just in March, April, May, June, see in March, comparing 1 year to comparing 2020 to 2019, we were at 76. In 2019, it was 72. And again, what I mean, the number by 76, I mean, that is the percentage of sales that sold for more than the county's value. So in April and May, we were above 80. So now in June, we've fallen off a little bit, but still 75% of the sales that we're seeing are selling for more than the county's current value. So again, every indication we have so far is that the market continues to be strong and continues to be very active, and prices are holding steady at this point. How long that will last, I think, depends a lot about what happens to the economy in the future, and I know we're all concerned about that. How long will things be shut down? What impact does that have on ability for people to pay their bills, and the number of job losses, and the people out of work, businesses closed? All of that is going to have an impact, I think we all fear at some point, but we just haven't seen any of that impact to date. So talk about, when we say tentative results, let me talk a little bit about where we are and what we expect going forward. Again, we've submitted our abstract to the Department of Taxation, waiting for their approval. This would just be tentative approval. They don't give final approval till closer to the end of the year. But this would be tentative approval. We think it's going to be a little bit longer this year getting those results back from the Department of Taxation. They've had, they've had a period of time where they had their office closed, so they're behind on some of the things they're doing. There are 40 other counties doing updates or revals this year throughout Ohio, so they're a little bit behind on their work. So it may take them a while to respond to us, but we believe that what we submitted is well within their guidelines and their expectations. So if there is any change, we think it would just be minor tweaking of our final results. So what we're seeing, though, in these tentative results don't include certain things. So what we're seeing today, what we're announcing to you and providing to you, does not include new construction totals for 2020. Now, it includes new construction for previous years, but does not include the new 2020 new construction totals. Those would be added in closer to the end of the summer. It does not include updated CAUV values, which is important for certain communities around the county. So we don't have those values included in these numbers yet. And it does not include some additional tornado adjustment. It includes some of the tornado impact from last year, but does not include all of it. And so that is yet to be added. We talk about the CAUV program. Again, this is something that doesn't concern everyone in the county, but it is a major issue for those townships along the western edge, the townships and communities along the western border of the county. So, Clay Township, Perry, Jackson, German Township, some of Jefferson. These are the areas of the county where you have a lot of the CAUV properties that are in the current agricultural use value program. We have about 2,800 parcels that are in that program. We are expecting to see a significant decrease in CAUV values this year, and some of that is very much expected. In 2017, there was an adjustment was made in 2017 to the formula for CAUV values. That adjustment was not fully implemented. It was only half implemented in 2017. So it had the impact of reducing values about 25%. So we were expecting, when it is fully implemented this year, to see about another 25% reduction in values. But on top of that, there's the declining crop prices that farmers have been experiencing. So you put those two things together, and we think it's going to exceed that 25%. It's going to be a bigger decrease in those values than that. And so we think that's going to be significant, and it's going to be a significant difference when those values are added in, again, to those townships along the western edge. We're still working on those values. They will be released later this summer, and that's typical of what happens during a process like this. And so we'll be announcing the specifics about that in a couple of weeks probably, but those values are yet to come. Well, let's talk about the tornado. Again, this was a devastating situation for the county last year, for communities, but also for individuals, and we sympathize with everyone that's had to experience the destruction that was accompanied these tornadoes. After the tornadoes, again, a lot of the field work, and most of you are aware of this, a lot of the field work was already done in these communities. We had all of the street level imaging done. We had all the aerial imaging done. So we had to redo a lot of that work. To do the street level imaging, they redrove, our partners from Lexer redrove an additional 537 miles. We had new aerial images within a week, and I think you've all heard that story. We had new aerial images flown for this area within a week. As a result, we reviewed about 17,000 parcels and determined about 2,600 of those parcels required some type of value adjustment.